Hey, what's up? Finally back with another Garo manga magazine spotlight. So, I was going through all of the issues that I've read and I've posted about in the past, and like early on when I did start off this YouTube channel, I did show off some Garo issues, but I think for the sake of completion and I was starting off very early, didn't know what I was doing. I probably want to redo some of those magazines or just make them into their separate videos, so it's just easy to navigate like the Garo magazine playlist and just like look at all of the different issues in order. So this was the first one that I wanted to pick up to showcase, and this is it's a really good issue, and it's actually a special issue as well. So this is the 1968 September issue. So it's a special issue that has like the subtitle Unique Manga Masterpiece Collection, and this one here has a cover art done by Hayashi Seiichi. Really cool one, really love the color in this one too. So there's tons of stories to go through, so we'll just get started with this one. So here is, oh, and I forgot, there's what's cool as well is that we've got profile pictures for each of the mangaka in here. So on the top left, we've got Hayashi. Top right here, we've got Shinji Nagashima. In the middle, we have Takita Yuu. On the left, a young Hino Hideshi. On the bottom, Sasaki Maki. And on the right, Ryoichi Ikegami. So really cool that they have all of those pictures in here, and this is the table of contents. So this was, I remember the very first time that I saw what Takita Yuu and Sasaki Maki looked like. So that was really cool. I knew what Ikegami looked like and the others, but even Hayashi, a younger version of him, that's really cool to see. So the first one we start off with is a story by Shinji Nagashima. I'm not sure how to exactly pronounce it. Maybe it's like Fuko, like wind and child. And this one has color pages in it, but we follow a boy by the name of Kichi over here who's playing around, and he stumbles across this caravan line, I guess, where he sees this woman that he thinks is really pretty. So sometime onwards, he goes to meet the woman again, and she takes care of him for a bit, but the husband doesn't seem to like Kichi at all. And so one day they're going out. Here they are with a bunch of statues. Kichi is playing, and he finds the husband over here stuck in the mud or river, I guess. Looks like mud. The husband is crying for help, but Kichi, he kind of just like ignores him and leaves the husband there. So I'm not sure if I'm misinterpreting, but he goes back to the woman, and he's kind of happy that he's with her, but not sure what happens to the husband after. I'm not sure if he died or anything. I hope he didn't die. If he died, then pretty dark story, but either way, if he didn't die, it's still pretty dark of him to just ignore someone stuck in the mud/river like that. So that was the Shinji Nagashima story. Darker than what I've seen out of all the other Nagashima works. So that was that. Next one we have is a story called Aitsu, or That Person, by Takita Yuu. And so this one is mostly focusing on a specific soldier and a woman. So this woman here, pretty much she falls head over heels for a specific soldier, as you can see in here. She follows him everywhere he goes because she's so in love with him. She tries to introduce herself, but there's no reaction from the quiet soldier. But later in the story, this is still her just running around trying to find him. Here he is. Later in the story, he's sent on a mission, and he kind of looks back at her from the bus, and maybe he's blushing here with all these lines, I'm not too sure. But yeah, he's sent away and he watches her as the bus drives off. So I think he's blushing here. Looks like he's blushing, so that's a wholesome one. By Takita Yuu. Haven't shown off a Takita story in a while, so there you go, Takita Yuu fans. So we've got next one here by Ryoichi Ikegami. It's been a while since I've also read an Ikegami work as well. It's called Blurry World, and from what I can tell, so firstly, amazing art. There was also a documentary that I recently watched. It featured it was a Mizuki Shigeru documentary. It featured oh yes, I believe it was Manben. It featured Ikegami and another one of Shigeru's assistants, and they went over some of the Genga. I will link that. I think Holmberg posted it up somewhere, and I forgot where it was, but I'll link that in the description if you're interested in that. It's essentially just commentary. You get to see Urasawa Naoki, the other assistant in Ikegami, talk about the Shigeru art style and just going through the original pages, so that was really cool. But yeah, this story by Ikegami is about a boxer who retires from because of his bad eyesight, and he kind of loses everything because of that. But the story I didn't really understand, the ending not too sure of. Seems like he towards the end meets a fan or something, so there's a little bit of a fight here. Maybe not, maybe he didn't meet a fan, I'm not too sure exactly what happened, but gets back into boxing a little bit. Might have been this guy that was the fan that he met at the bar, but looks like he is reinvigorated, beating up someone who was pissing in the park. Interesting story. I don't know if I like that, but love the art. Next one we have is a Sasaki Maki story. It's called The Town on the Shore, Umi no Machi, which is actually the same title as one of his tankobon, which collects a lot of his one-shots together. So Sasaki Maki, if you already know, a nonsense mangaka, legendary in my eyes. Every single panel you can sort of dwell on for a while, so I'll just zoom into a couple of ones. But he has released actually a new picture book recently, so in 2024. This is one of my favorite panels ever from Sasaki Maki. Just love the flowing, and you also sometimes see this thing of empty speech bubbles in his works. So great stuff. But yeah, he did release a new picture book 2024. I will put the name and link to that in the description. I still actually don't have any Sasaki Maki books. I mean, Ding Dong Circus is out of print, so I don't really have that. So all the Sasaki Maki stuff I have is just in Garo issues. I will eventually pick up his picture book published by 50 Watts called I Am a Wolf After All sometime in the future. But yeah, great stuff as usual from him. A lot of these little running babies as well. So let's move on to the next one. Next one is by Hayashi Seiichi, titled American Celluloid, which I believe was published in English in the Red Rock book. I believe that was put out by Breakdown Press. This one was also a confusing story for me. I'm not too sure what exactly it means, or so kind of just this woman here she's kind of narrating to us and talking about how she hates the outside, doesn't feel the need to go out. I guess some frustration. As usual, very vibrant with the inks by Hayashi. And there's a doll with blue eyes that is sitting in her room that's made in America. And from that point, I don't really know what happens. I'm a bit confused, but very creepy, at least over here. Maybe it's some commentary, I'm not too sure. I do want to eventually find Red Red Rock, but it's looking pretty hard at the moment. It's such a, it's one of the manga that I really want to own in English, but you know, since it's out of print, will be a bit of a tough one to find. But yeah, that was the Hayashi chapter. We'll move on to another one by Fujisawa Mitsuo that is called Greetings from a Manga Vaudeville. Interesting. This one is in the past I have shown off Fujisawa Mitsuo stories before. They are usually under like the series he had. I forgot the name of it, but it was like the psychedelic caveman series. But this one is different. It's a separate one shot to that. Pretty much adventures of these weird looking frog creatures instead. So yeah, not the same caveman as the previous issues, but just I guess another set of characters that he has. And I believe this one is a bit of a long one, so I will flick through that. Yeah, interesting ending panel here. Pretty funny. Okay, and the next one is, I actually really like this one. This one's called Love by Wataru Takahashi, and this is their only one shot that they've had for Garo, because they debuted in 1966, but they serialized in a bunch of other magazines other than Garo. It's just one of their one shots was in here for this year. So the main premise of this is that we have our main guy who is like a mangaka, and he's in love with a woman, but every set of 2 pages it switches manga style. So right now that's like, it says on the top right, it's set in like a gag manga style. Then we flip over and you have stuff like shoujo, it turns into like a shoujo manga. Yeah, shoujo manga here for example. So every 2 pages the visual style changes. And you've also got like hard-boiled detective, you've got sci-fi, so all of it is following the same story. You've got here like 4-panel works. All of it is the same story, but every 2 pages or every page or so is told in a different style of manga, which was actually very fun to look at. Turns into this like whole text heavy page as well. This one is silent manga, so no text there. So yeah, very enjoyable one actually, and really cool panel here. And yeah, that's the end of that story. So love that. That was pretty experimental, but very fun to flick through. Then we've got another one which is called Le Mort du Pessimist. I'm probably not pronouncing that correctly. By a mangaka named Hijiri Kazuo. Never heard of them before. This is a volume 3, so this might be like a continuing series. That's probably why I didn't understand it too much. So this this mangaka had only 2 stories in Garo, this one and another one in 1966. The story at least is of the main character, who's also named Hijiri. He reunites with like a friend at a bowling place. They haven't seen each other for 2 years because Hijiri was doing manga, but he came back all depressed, talking about life and death and all of that as well. But as they talk, there's this little section here. I guess it's this manga. Pretty creative. As they talk, I believe they go upstairs to the top of the building, and I guess trigger warning after this, so you might want to skip this. They talk and talk, and then one of them does actually jump right here. Then they're all rushing down. And they approach him in the crowds here. But it seems like he's okay, somewhat. And it sort of ends there with a melancholy. You've got the broken glasses and the city landscape. So, interesting one. Quite a sad one. I guess because the main character is also Hijiri, it might just be like a personal vent for the mangaka. But really liked that little manga section that they had here, since he was a mangaka. Yeah. Next one is another manga I've never heard of before. It's a story titled The Birth of a New Organization by Yamamoto Ikuo. Won the Garo Newcomer Award in 1967. That's kind of all I know about them. Weird story as well, which I didn't fully understand. Two friends here, one of them's having a lollipop, and kind of is like just a discussion about politics, morals, society that ensues, but it does end up with something political, I guess. But I didn't really understand that too much, so we'll move on to the next one. The next one is a silent manga. This is called Haniwa's World, or Haniwa no Sekai, by Tashiro Tamekan. So they debuted in 1966 in Garo. Did manga until 78, but they had a break for a bit, came back and also did wrestling manga from 1985 under the Tamekan name. But in 87, they switched up their style. They did more like comic strips under the name Tashiro Shintaro instead. And since 2008, they've been a professor in manga and animation. So what this is Haniwa, I believe, is like those little clay dolls. They meet up with a human. This little boy tries to show it around. This guy says it's like empty. I guess it's like bullying it. Gets a bit sad. The boy gets a bit frustrated because he's trying to teach it math or trying to communicate with it, and stresses it out, starts cracking, and he's sitting there maybe regretting his anger because he's now just like supposed to be friends, I guess. He just injured his friend. So yeah, that was the end of that silent manga. Now we move on to last two stories. This was a really quick story. Another silent manga and another manga by Takita Yuu. This one is called The Sun Sets in the West. So we follow this guy who is stranded in the desert, stuck, does not know what to do, and in the distance he sees water. But I guess he realizes something. The ending was a bit ambiguous to me. Not sure why he's laughing or why he had this sort of grim look on his face. Is this water? Is this sand? I don't know. It looks like water. He's happy. So I guess he got lucky. All right, next one. The usual 4-panel strips by Susumu Katsumata. There we go. So we've got a couple of them. And then the last one is a story by Hino Hideshi called The Legend of the Haniwa Forest. So love the art in this one. It's also a little bit confusing to me, but essentially a warrior here. He stumbles upon the ruins of a village, but while there he meets a woman who's also wearing a mask and her son as well. They discuss something. I don't know really what happens, but we see the Haniwas there. Looks like towards the end the son wants to fight the warrior, and all the Haniwa are watching. But here we go, we have a fight happening, and at the end he manages to kill the warrior. And we just see the sun starting to shine. So yeah, I don't know what the story really was about, so I apologize, but really good art. And we've got a little advertisement for Tsuge Yoshiharu at the end. And yeah, so this was the 1968 September special issue that included or was dubbed the Unique Manga Masterpiece Collection. So although some of the stories I didn't understand, I really liked this issue, especially the cover art by Hayashi. It's so colorful. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this one. We'll see you in the next video. Bye.